Hi, I'm Matt.
Hey there, I'm Bianca.
And in this video, we're going to talk about the veto. What is vetoing? How should you veto someone?
When should you veto someone? And if your play partner gets vetoed from you, how do you handle that?
This is going to be a good one. So let's get started.
Yeah.
What is a veto?
So a veto, in my opinion, is when your partner, your primary partner, says, I'm uncomfortable with the situation of you playing with this person. And they say, I would really rather you didn't play with them anymore.
Okay, all right. That's simple enough. And it's interesting because in the polyamorous world, a couple who vetoes is generally a big red flag. Is that something that polyamorous people generally don't want to deal with? That they like the autonomy of being able to play with whoever they feel comfortable with.
Right.
But in the lifestyle, when you're coming into it from a situation usually of a couple doing this adventure together, then veto power becomes something that is usually a good idea. And it can be a positive experience, and it can absolutely be a negative experience. But it's something that I would say, if not every couple deals with, almost every couple deals with at some point. We definitely have talked to some couples that are like, I don't veto anybody. You know, it's their choice. They're what they do, and if they do something that's going to have some sort of negative consequence, that's going to be on them. But more than anything, it's about, since you're doing this together, the comfort level of both people. Well,
and I've talked to a few people lately that have said, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that I had a power to veto.
Sure.
That it didn't even occur to them that was something that they could do.
Sure. And well, in those situations, did that person or people feel uncomfortable with other people playing with their spouse or partner beforehand?
Yeah.
And they just accepted that fact.
Right.
Oh, interesting. Which is why this is something that you definitely want to talk about. And I think we should, maybe do we have any, I guess we can give an example of times we've run into that. We've run into this probably, we've been doing this since 2011. And I would tend to say that I've vetoed guys you've played with maybe 2 or 3
I can think
times,
of
3 times, and you've probably done about the same amount of times towards me, and that's totally normal. But it's unusual. It's very unusual. It's a very small percentage of time, and at least for us, because we are so comfortable in with doing all of this, that it really takes a kind of a big deal.
Sure.
Like I don't want you playing with your ex or something like that. You know, that would be veto power as a good example. And probably most people would say, oh yeah, we have that one.
Or like a family member.
I can't bang your siblings or something like that. Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We had an example last year. We actually go to Vegas quite a bit, and we go to a lot of parties and events down there. And there's one gentleman that you have, single gentleman that you have played with numerous times over the years. Super nice guy. And I've never had an issue with it before. Never thought to have an issue with it before. And we were at a party there, and I saw you guys making out and flirting and doing the thing, but it almost, from my perspective, seemed like something more was going on there. And I instantly felt uncomfortable. And it's hard to describe because, like I said, this wasn't just some new person or something like that. This was someone that I had never had any issue with. But it's something just hit me wrong about how he was acting towards you or touching you or doing something. I like I said, it's difficult to put into words, but it just hit me wrong. And you looked at me and you were like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah, I instantly felt your body language and just the energy you were giving off of. You weren't 100% right then. And when I had caught your eye at that party, I was just kind of like, I need to go check in with my partner. So I excused myself from the conversation of lips that we were having.
Took his hand off your butt.
I excused myself and went in to check in with you. And you were very much like, I'm ready to go. You weren't ready to express what the problem was then and there, but I knew something wasn't right. Yeah. And so we left the house party that we were at and decided to go talk about it.
Sure. And interestingly enough, like, I can't quite put words to how my feelings were, but when it comes down to it, my feelings are my own, and I have the right to my feelings, just as you have the right to your feelings in the exact opposite situation. And this is exactly where veto power makes sense. So we went home, we talked about it, and it was just, I just don't feel comfortable with you playing with him.
Right.
And you were bummed.
I was sad. I don't have a lot of play partners that I have a deep connection with. And I felt like I had not deep connection isn't the right word, more of just like a really good time with someone who doesn't feel intimidated by me, someone who feels like they can be themselves with me, and where we can just both kind of just be ourselves and not have that intimidation there.
Right.
And so I was bummed because I really enjoyed my time with this person.
Yeah.
And so, but I never felt like I got angry. I more felt like I wanted to understand. I do think there was a bit of, because we're all human, right? We go through different emotions when this happens. And we had a very long conversation when this happened. We tried to figure out what the feelings were. Did I do something wrong? Because I instantly felt like I did something wrong. I instantly felt when you said, I'm not comfortable with this, I thought, oh shit, I shouldn't have been kissing him. I should have been with you. Like, I did something wrong. And you were very, very much, this is not about you. This is about me and my feelings. And this is about what I'm feeling right now. You did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. I'm just having some feelings about this. So we really took a good amount of time, and not just one day. This was over the course of almost a couple of months of just exploring it and sitting in your feelings and re-exploring and rediscussing, well, I thought about this. What do you think about this? And that kind of stuff. And it was a long conversation.
Yeah.
And yes, of course I was bummed. But I also felt like our relationship is the most important relationship in our journey.
Yep.
And we have to do whatever we can to protect it.
Yes.
And to honor each other's feelings and all of that kind of stuff. And I know that I did have a bit of, like, I can't say anger, but maybe like a jealousy or just like a frustration of like, well, fine, I'm going to veto one of your favorite people.
Okay.
And I tried really hard to discover within myself why I wanted to veto one of your favorite people. And I didn't want it to come from a place of revenge.
Okay.
And so I like really sat with that feeling and thought about it a lot and decided I was vetoing that person based on being pissed off and revenge and that kind of stuff. And that's not a good place to be in.
Right.
So I never actually did it.
Right.
But, I had my feelings. And because I wasn't, well, fuck you, I'm going to veto your person. If you're going to, like, we never had like a big, huge fight because I honored your feelings and I honored my feelings and sat with them for a while.
Yeah. And so dealing with that way, I think was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to say too, and I hope this doesn't sound horrible. I don't mean this to sound horrible, but I also, like, when you vetoed this person, I also felt like, well, there's more fish in the sea. And that, yes, I enjoyed my time. I had a great time, but this is not someone that I want to like leave you for, like, in no way at all. We have great chemistry sexually, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And like, so I also, once I came down and had all my feelings about it, it was like, there's another person around the corner that hopefully you'll feel comfortable with.
Right.
So, I did have that in my brain too, is that this is not the last person, the only person I will ever play with.
Yeah.
We had great chemistry. Doesn't mean we can't still be friends. It doesn't mean we can't still talk. We're just not going to have sex anymore.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's also on another level why people take one for the team in the foursome concept of we're doing this as a team and we are going to only meet other couples and only play with other couples, and then one of them ends up taking one for the team because they're not as attracted to the other person. That's also a form of veto power in the sense of you might be so attracted to this guy, but I'm not hitting on the woman and I are hitting it off. I'm going to say no to this couple, and that is a form of veto, and that's total, and that's a good thing. But that's also why we often more often than not play separately, so we have to deal with that less. But even the fact that we deal with playing separately, there still are going to be circumstances where the other one just should be giving some sort of veto power.
Well, and with the couple, or if you have 4 people, we have had that veto before, where we've had 4 people. This couple only plays together. We play separately, but we also play together with couples. But this couple only played together, but they played together, separate rooms. And I had, at first, when we were playing with this couple, I was fine. It was a yes. Then each time I played with this person, it became less of an enthusiastic yes, and then it became, this is not an enthusiastic yes. But then something happened, and it became, this is now a no. And so I had to actually say, I am done playing with this person, and because they only play as a couple, sorry, you're now done as well. And so I did veto that couple. So, it does happen, and sometimes it's a bummer, but you can still at least be friends.
Right. So when should you veto someone? I
think if you're feeling at all uncomfortable with the play, with the dynamic that your partner has with this person, I think you need to take a moment. And I personally don't feel like I would necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I would veto someone right away, like without thinking about it for a little bit.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Like, I need to sit in my feelings for a minute. Am I vetoing again? Like, what form of jealousy is creating this veto? Because I think that veto does come from a little bit of a jealousy. Absolutely. Or just, you're concerned that something it can. And so, is this coming from jealousy? What is creating that jealous feeling? And is it something I can get over? Is it something I'm making up in my head? Is it something that I'm not seeing the full picture? So I would probably sit in my feelings for a little while, but then I would also bring it to your attention. I don't feel like I hope that I wouldn't just say, you're fucking done with them, and not give you an explanation and not tell you. I would hope that we would sit down and have a conversation and say, I'm having these feelings. What are your thoughts on this? And, when I see you with that person, it makes me feel like this, and I don't like sitting in those feelings. So how can we fix this situation? And through the conversation, it may become a situation where I say, you know what? Let's veto this person. And maybe I veto them, and we check back in after a little while, and maybe I feel differently. I don't think that the veto is end all be all forever. It can be. Right. But I think it can be just, let's pause for a minute. And, we do that within our relationship with just the lifestyle in general. If we're having some sort of something, a problem or an issue or whatever, we might take a step back from playing with other couples because we need to focus on us. Because as I said, this is the most important relationship in the lifestyle for us. Yeah. And so I might veto someone for the time being, and we can come back and rediscover that. But if I'm feeling any kind of jealousy or concern in any way that person, your partner, is getting too attached, you may not see it because you've got that new relationship energy feeling when you're with them. You may not see what I'm seeing. And so I may see something more. And if I see that person is getting too attached, that person is texting you too much, that person is trying to weasel their way into whatever, and I'm not comfortable with it, that's probably when I need to have a discussion with you.
Okay. And in that situation, how should I respond, or how should I feel when you do veto me, or how should you feel if I veto you?
Right. That's tough, right? Because I think when you first get someone vetoed from you, that can feel like an attack. You're vetoing me or my play partner. I'm now attacked. I did something wrong, right? Is the first feeling, like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything wrong. Right. You told me I could play with this person. Now you're telling me I can't. I didn't do anything. So as always, like I've said this before, when you have a conversation with someone, with your partner about the lifestyle, listen with kindness, like hear. So if Matt's telling me I have a problem with this person you're playing with, try not to get your defenses up. Try to relax into the conversation and let them say their piece. Listen to them. Hear the words that they're saying. You can reassure them, but know that they're coming to you out of love. Right. Right? You're not doing this out of spite. You're doing this because you love me and you don't want to see something negative happen with our relationship. So I want to listen to you with that kindness and that understanding and really hear what you're trying to say. And we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to let you know I wasn't trying to hurt you. I wasn't trying to shove this other relationship in your face and make you feel bad or alone or anything like that. So you need to have a good conversation. But I think the main thing is, as the person getting vetoed, is try to really marinate on those feelings and really absorb them and let your partner know that you're listening and you hear them. Mm-hmm. Because I do think that no matter what, when you get someone vetoed from you, you're going to feel some anger towards your partner and that situation. It may be a ton of anger, it may be a little bit of anger, it may be something, but try not to lash out at them because they are coming at you from a place of love.
Yeah. And when it comes down to everything, it really just boils down to communication.
Yeah.
As with everything else, there are going to be some times that you don't feel comfortable with your play partner playing with someone.
Well, and I think it's a hard conversation to have, a hard conversation to bring up. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in the situation we were talking about at the beginning of this, where it was obvious there was something wrong with you. Yeah. It was obvious that you were not okay, right. So we knew we needed to have a conversation about this. But there have been other times where, like with the couple, where it just kind of like snowballed. Mm-hmm. And I had to bring up a conversation where I knew you weren't going to be super thrilled because you really had a connection with your play partner. Right. And so trying to find the right time. Don't do it when you're about to go to bed necessarily and you're really tired or you're drunk or high or your kids are in the room or whatever. Like, find a good space, a safe space to have that conversation, and a time where you can really sit and have a good conversation and really delve into what you're feeling. And you know what? Be prepared for tears. Mm-hmm. Someone may cry. Yeah. So you might not want to do it in public, but being prepared for that. And I know when you and I have these conversations, which, believe it or not, we've been doing this a long time, but we still do have these conversations where something, and it's not necessarily veto, it's just whatever, something happens, there's jealousy, there's whatever, one or both of us have a really good cry, and you know what, it brings us so much closer together. And I'm not talking about the crying, I'm talking about these conversations. Like, I love having the deep conversations with you. We sit in our bed and the tissues are right there, and we have such a good conversation, and it may be messy at first and it may be messy in the middle, but usually at the end we feel so much closer together. We usually hug it out really big. More often than not, we have some great sex. And then we do, like, I feel for the next however long, we are so much closer. Mm-hmm. So the hard conversations, they suck, they're hard, but they're just going to bring you closer together as a couple.
Exactly. And thank you for letting people know that I cry all the time.
Yeah, all the time. You're such a crybaby.
I appreciate that. Yeah, veto power is just one of those really natural feelings that people have. Just like jealousy, it's just a part of the lifestyle. Yeah. Most things in the lifestyle are very, very positive. And speaking of things that are positive, go to www.clubsapphire.net right now and click the subscribe and like button right now. Anyway, jealousy is an important part of all of this, and if you do run into jealousy issues, or if you haven't run into jealousy issues, we've actually talked about that quite a bit in these videos, and there's actually a video right about here that you should click on right now if you want to learn more about jealousy and how you should handle it in the lifestyle. Click on it right now.